Hello, everyone. Jose J. Garcia with Garcia Mobile Home University here. So, my guest today, very special guest. He is an entrepreneur, he's a venture capitalist, and one of the original Bitcoin investors. Michael Tozoni, how you doing?
Hi, Michael Tozoni. Yes, nice to be with you, Garcia. Jose.
Absolutely, yes, sir. So, Michael, we have attended a few events that I can remember, and it's actually where I first met you was down south in Florida at a 1% event at one of our mentors. But so I've seen a lot of the stuff you do. Awesome. Like I said, you're one of the original Bitcoin investors. We're going to get into that. But for people that don't know you, tell us about you.
Um, well, there's a lot to tell, but long story short, ex-Soviet immigrant, came from USSR to US, came from a very poor family, I guess. Kind of had to branch out on my own, started from almost nothing, but learned about finances and investing. Actually, originally I was in IT, so I moved up from back when not a lot of PC technician all the way up to being IT manager for McDonald's Corporation for the regional offices in DC. Then dot-com bubble happened. I got laid off and outsourced.
Mm.
Switched to finance. Found out that was interested in finances, and kind of went from there. I first was a personal financial analyst. Then I went to get a degree in business finance, and I got a master's in global finance and economics. And then I discovered Bitcoin, and it kind of fit the two of my two fields together, where it was IT on one side and finances on the other. So that kind of helped me figure it out almost right away. And ever since like early 2011, I've been involved crypto almost full time. So I ran the first crypto charity. I managed a Bitcoin wallet software project. I helped run a couple of Bitcoin ATM companies, and I've invested in
Wow.
a lot of different Bitcoin projects as well. And of course, I've been buying crypto, and I've been teaching people how to invest in crypto and trying to get more people involved in investing in Bitcoin for this whole time, just because um, back in 2011, I understood what the possibility was, and 10 years later, I'm still being proven right.
Well, that's awesome. Absolutely. So, are you a numbers guy naturally? I mean, do you have to know numbers to know Bitcoin, or is this just more? You said IT you were in, and
It's more of a logic thing. Like, well, kind of like when you understand business by not really looking at the numbers specifically, but you want to see what the business does, whether it makes sense, whether it has a unique selling proposition, what kind of benefits it has, such as the kind of key concepts are network effects, where the more people use it, the more valuable it becomes.
mm,
First mover advantage, where usually if you're in there first, you can stay first ahead of everybody else while everybody catches up. Open source, which means that like a lot of people say that, well, Bitcoin is first, but maybe it'll be Bitcoin 2.0 and then I'll invest. But if it's an open source project, why would anybody develop on a different platform when they have um, any new improvements can just be added to Bitcoin itself? And open source platform, which is as opposed to a single product that you work with, a platform is something that anybody can develop on top of. So one very famous example of an open source platform is the internet itself. A product would be a telephone provided by a company that like the old style landline telephones.
mm,
And internet was an open source platform that anybody could develop that also had network effects built into it. So the more people started using it, the more valuable it became,
mhm.
and it just started growing exponentially and completely overtook the product that was the old telephone communication systems. And we've never had internet 2.0 because whatever new stuff you might want to invent, everybody's on the old internet, so you might as well just add it to the new internet instead of starting to
Sure.
building a network. And it's the same deal as Bitcoin. Back then I realized that that's the key components of it. So I realized that we'll just have Bitcoin as an open source platform, and then you kind of new inventions. Well, people will experiment with kind of other coins as well, but eventually, if it's good enough, it'll just be implemented on Bitcoin as well.
Sure. Absolutely. No, that's good stuff there. And outside of real estate and mobile homes. Really, mobile homes aren't even considered real estate; they're personal property. But I haven't really looked into much other than Bitcoin has always been an interest, and I got some questions for you on that. But one thing
Sure.
that I did kind of try to understand, and I understand you're not really a fan, is the stock market. It didn't take very
Mm-hmm.
long to start trying to keep up with more that it was just confusing. I'm not a numbers guy. I mean, I do if I write them down, but not on the screen quickly, moving up and down kind of thing. So it's not something that you can figure out very quickly. But what are your thoughts on the stock market in comparison, I suppose, to Bitcoin?
Well, in I think 5 different classes throughout my 6 or 7 year college career, I've had both professors and data show that if you are actively trading the stock market, of the professionals who actively trade on the stock market, about 75% of them underperform the market as a whole. And the other quarter outperforms it first, like maybe 4 years, and then ends up underperforming or losing that money later. So you'll hear a lot of professional stock investors who'll tell you, like, invest as me, I trade on the stocks, I day trade, I make a lot of money.
Mhm.
But the problem is you only hear them when they are making a lot of money, and then when they lose all that money, you never hear about them. So it sounds like, you only get the one side of the story.
Sure.
But if you look at the at the big investors, like Warren Buffett and like even JT and others, they don't just day trade on a stock market, because day trading is essentially like gambling. You're putting in money and hoping it'll go up, like reading tea leaves. What real investors do is they either buy and hold long term in something that they understand, or as you would probably understand, like uh, there's investing and there's gambling, and most people who think they're investing, they're gambling. What you're doing with real estate is you're investing, because what you're doing is you buy a property that you understand what the value of it is, but more importantly, you know why it will actually go up, and then you actually put in an effort to make it go up. So you're
Sure.
not just throwing money hoping for it, you're actually investing and making it go up. So stock investors, they either understand the stock and understand why it will go up, not just because the charts look some way, but because they actually know something, or because they actually work to make that stock go up. And that's what I've actually been doing with Bitcoin as well. Not only have I been investing in Bitcoin, expecting it to go up based on all the fundamentals I mentioned, but I've actually been working to make it be more adopted. So I've been teaching a lot of people. I've been helping develop a lot of the foundational stuff to make it work.
Mhm.
And I've even been giving out a lot of Bitcoin to people too early on, because the more people I adopted, even though I lose Bitcoin, the Bitcoin I have remaining is going up more in value than what I gave away.
Well, that was one of my questions here in a minute was, do you coach people how to get into Bitcoin and that sort of thing? So,
Oh yeah,
um, okay, please send me a coin. Yes, thank you. I definitely want to
I
get it.
used to give them out back when they were $5 a piece. I used to give them out just on
What are they
paper
now?
wallets, but 58,000.
This shows you
So
how far off I am from Bitcoin. I mean, wow. And that's not a good thing. I recall when Bitcoin was the thing, you started hearing it kind of like, okay, Bitcoin. To me, it was just one more thing, I guess, out there. But like you said earlier before we came on the call, I mean, it has definitely gone up, and you know what you're doing in this stuff. So you have watched it progress. Um, do you see Bitcoin becoming, where do you see Bitcoin in 30 years? Let me ask you that.
well, if I was to ask you in 1990, where do you see the internet in 2020? In 2020, what would you say?
Well, seeing
I
I
mean,
don't know much.
like we saw the communication part of it, being able to send messages for almost free. I mean, a good comparison between Bitcoin and the prior stuff is we had, if you wanted to call somebody, you can call them locally. If you wanted to call somebody long distance, it costs a lot of money. If you call them internationally, you had to connect through like international networks if they actually existed. Same for mail. If you want to mail locally, that's just a stamp. If you wanted to mail somebody in another country, that's a whole other business, because you have to go through customs
Sure.
and borders and stuff. Then email came by. Email doesn't care where you are. It just goes, and like you don't care where the person you're mailing is. It's just there. That's pretty much the same as Bitcoin compared to banking. If you want to send money to somebody overseas,
Mm.
you have to go through the currency exchanges, the international banking transfers, all that whole system that takes a long time. And after all this time, a lot of it is still actually manual. Like even if you send a wire and it goes through instantly, most of the time what happens is the receiving bank, they actually extend a loan to the person that you're getting in the back end. And then over the course of the next like 2 weeks or so, they actually do the settlement where they transfer the actual money over.
Wow.
Um, Bitcoin is like email in that you can send it to anybody in the world and it doesn't really care about borders. You don't care where it's going.
Yeah.
So in that small sense, that did the same thing as what internet did. But then things like being able to connect to a map that everybody cloud sources together to update and fix up, and then connect to a GPS system that
Mm.
finds where the locations are at, and then connect to people who want to get a ride and they give somebody else a ride, and put all of those things together to create, say, Uber. I mean, that we probably would have never been able to guess back in 1990 until we actually came to here. And Bitcoin is about as transformative as that with regards to money, not just because it's not just a way to send value, but it's actually programmable money. So, for example, I can create a transaction where uh, this transaction will say that this money will go to my account if by, say, April 30th, the total balance of this account is equal to $10,000. And then I can give out this address to a whole lot of people. And people can start sending money, adding money to this address. And if it actually is over $10,000, it will go to me. If it's less than $10,000, the conditions fail, and the money just gets the transaction gets canceled. The money gets back to everybody else, and that's essentially Kickstarter, but it's built right into Bitcoin. So all these kind of things you can program right into it as well. There are a lot of contracting stuff that you can eliminate a lot of businesses and banks and even
Yeah.
legal contracts just by programming it into money. So with regards to where it's going, I don't know. There's a lot of potential on this, but I'm pretty sure it's going far.
Well, if I were to guess, I say it's here to stay. That is awesome. That stuff there. Now I'm intrigued. I like new stuff. That this is all in. I'm green, so I've got to get in some of this stuff because even the simple things you're talking about, I'm just over my head. But it's interesting. It's interesting what it has involved too. And like I said, I think it's here to stay. So, do you invest in real estate?
Yes, I did. I do. I was Most of my investments, like but 99% of it was in Bitcoin. And I wanted to try to diversify. So I started doing some real estate investing. It's hard. Um, I mean, I've been in crypto for about 10 years now. So at least now I know how to spot bad deals and good deals. And most of them are bad deals. In real estate, I'm sure you know that most deals you find are bad deals too. But when I started out, I was very green. So I lost an enormous amount of money, unfortunately.
Oh
But
no.
um, real estate is kind of yeah, one of the reasons I wanted to get into real estate was diversification, but also there's
Mm.
two types of investments. There's a I forgot the term for it, but where you invest in something and it continues to grow in value. And the other kind is a cash flow investment where you invest in something and even if it stays the same value, it just constantly pays you a cash flow check every month. So that's what I wanted to do was a cash flow check every month. So that's why I diversified to real estate. But
Absolutely.
yeah,
Well, I'm not in real estate. I'm in mobile home manufactured housing. Here in America, we know
okay.
more as obviously trailers, mobile homes. But I tell people, mobile home is the hidden side of real estate. Very profitable, low risk, high reward, and we can use somebody else's money. So it makes for a good investment any day. And then the passive is there. So
Yeah,
we may need to talk about some of that later on.
I
But
got burned on that.
does
I bought a real estate a mobile home park which
oh
was
you did?
grandfathered in. Yeah,
Okay.
it was only two homes and they were grandfathered in for the park. The homes were falling apart, so we bought two replacement homes. And then the county came back and slapped a cease and desist on the two mobile homes we just bought new. And they did not, the grandfather, for whatever reason, they had no record whatsoever of that property on their system. It was all paper, and when upgraded to computers, they didn't have anything. Then they ended up giving us basically an impossible way to prove that, I mean, to get the grandfather clause to go in there. But they wanted us to prove that this property has been used as a mobile home nonstop since 1985, such as by water bill, which it was on a well, or cash flow, which they all paid in cash, or electric bill, and electric company doesn't hold more than 2 years of record. So they basically screwed us on that. But
Oh, wow.
oh well. So yeah, that's don't make sure if you buy a park or something, do your listen
That's,
to Jose and do your due diligence.
that's unfortunate there. Yeah, that's a good way to burn you up before even getting started. Wow, hate to hear that. Uh, Mobile homes, I tell people, anybody can get into them. I mean, it's all about learning. If you want it better, you can get into anything. But can anyone get into Bitcoin? I mean, is there an option for that? If
Yeah.
I wanted to start right now.
Well, you can install. You can either go to a website called Coinbase.com. It's a Bitcoin exchange that lets you buy and sell
Okay.
Bitcoins. You can also install a wallet on your phone called Edge Wallet, EDGE, and that one works both on iPhone and Android. And that one has a built-in method for you to buy Bitcoin right from within your phone. Unfortunately, it doesn't work in Virginia and 2 or 3 other states, but it works in most of the others to US. And it's designed where you type in your country that you're in, and it connects you to whatever service is available in whatever country. So they're pretty much global. But mostly, yeah, if Edge is the easiest way. If that doesn't work for you, you can do Coinbase, or you can do a couple of other Bitcoin exchanges. So what you're looking for is a Bitcoin exchange.
Mhm.
Or you can also ask to be paid in Bitcoin for your job and let somebody else figure it out. I've actually, a couple of my jobs I've had where my salary was entirely paid in Bitcoin as well. I
Okay.
mean, Bitcoin is money, so that's what it's for.
Sure. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Um, if you had to start over, what would you do differently? We always think about that. If we had to start over, I don't want to, but if you did, what would you do different this second time around?
Well, you probably won't want to hear this, but I wouldn't have diversified in real estate. I would have, I would have stuck to what I know well, and what I do well. I would have stuck to that because, like I said, I ended up making a lot of mistakes getting into the new thing. Even though I had a elite legacy at school that teaches you about real estate, and I had
Okay.
JT as well, but learning from, I guess, listening to people or reading about it is very different from learning about like actually doing it by yourself. So I made some mistakes. Also, um, Bitcoin was quite a considerably more better return, I guess, than everything else. Because over the long run, the purpose of Bitcoin is to take over and replace all the global currencies. So, dollars and euros are basically like the AT&Ts and T-Mobiles of the world. Bitcoin is supposed to be the internet of the world.
Mm,
So I and quite a lot of other quite influential and wealthy people are working on making Bitcoin be the global currency. So, and the key part to Bitcoin is it's scarce. So if you're looking for best money out there is a money that's scarce. That's not can be like printed out really easily.
mm,
Bitcoin has that, and there's only 21 million total Bitcoin for the entire world. They're divisible down to each Bitcoin is divisible into 100 million units, so we can divide it into smaller pieces. But you have 21 million Bitcoins to share among the entirety of the human population,
wow.
plus software, plus contracts and other things. And I say software because um, this kind of a weird, interesting thing. Bitcoin is the first money that can actually be owned by software as well. So if you think about it, you want to write software that manages money, you have to go to a bank account, open an account in your name, and then hook up that software to that bank account. Whereas Bitcoin is just code, so you can write a program that just holds Bitcoin on itself and sends Bitcoin, receives Bitcoin all automatically by itself. So imagine if you were to combine a Google self-driving car with Uber and with Bitcoin, where the car owns itself, collects money for itself, pays for its own gas and repairs, and just
Wow.
does all that thing automatically. Like it'll be its own, you know, the term for that is autonomous entity. So,
Mhm.
so yeah, there's a lot of crazy potentials.
Interesting. A lot of stuff for sure. Okay. You said a couple things there. I didn't know you did legacy. Yeah, I actually did the whole most of it, most of the courses of legacy. So that was one of the beginning for me too. But also diversified. I think we all think about that a lot, and that's kind of why I'm taking interest in Bitcoin. But one thing I can take out of this is I'm not doing it alone. I'm going to reach out to you because
That's good.
you got what you need in there. So, and in the hopes we might pull you back into mobile homes, but we're gonna make sure we do a due diligence thoroughly this time, so we don't get burnt out on that. So, absolutely,
Yeah, you can make mistakes easily in Bitcoin. Just like I lost money in real estate, you can very easily lose money in Bitcoin if you don't know what you're doing.
I'm
So I'll
sure
be happy to help out, definitely.
I will before I take a step. So, last question for you, Michael. I know time is cruising quickly. It's what, mid-March already. Wow. What's your biggest goal for
Mhm.
2021?
Fix all the issues that happened during 2020. Um, I'm actually going to be doing one of those things that also Bitcoin now allows you, called being a digital nomad. So if you have money in a bank account or money in real estate or money in any other kind of asset, it's kind of tied to the country where you're at. So let's say if I wanted to pick up and move to, say, Costa Rica, my money would be sitting in an account someplace in America. I'd have to transfer it wherever I'm going. Or if I have real estate, I'll have to hire somebody to work remotely. Bitcoin lets me take all my money as if it's an asset like real estate in my pocket wherever I go. So there's people
Wow.
out there I know who own like hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, who are entirely in Bitcoin. Nobody knows they have that money. Nobody knows they're rich, and they just live wherever the hell they want to in the world. Come in, settle down, pay for whatever they want. If the country starts treating them badly, they just pick up, take all their millions, and go someplace else. So
See that.
because of that, my 2021 and 22 are going to be, I'll mostly be liquidating most of my real estate and assets into crypto and start traveling the world a little more.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be talking. That's for sure. And that's one thing that I was thinking about is, yeah, you can do real estate from somewhere, but you always have that babysitting job kind of feel like that you have to be near, or it's just one of those. But I think about, and clearly the stock market, you don't suggest, which I believe you on that. But I want to do something that I can do anywhere. Anywhere I go, it can be done. So that's no baggage holding me back. Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Michael, how can people reach out to you? How can they find you?
So you see my name, Michael Tozoni, on the screen. Uh, Email is michael@tozoni.com. It's that simple.
Got it. And I will add those to the link here. This will be uploaded on JT Millionaire Flicks along with our YouTube podcast. So anybody tuning in, be sure to reach out to Michael, see if he can assist you, help you. Michael, it's been a pleasure having you on here. You and I will be talking some more.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.